Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, across the continent of Africa. This afternoon, those in the diaspora across in Europe, live from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. For the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been around the continent of Europe trying to defend Africa, trying to repair where we have gone wrong, trying to make things work, trying to argue against all forms of imperialism and neocolonialism that has killed Africa. The colonial hangover across the continent of Africa is what we want out. Today, our topic is very simple, live. I'm addressing you, fellow Africans, that time has come for us to stand up and say the truth. However much you are hated, however much you are insulted, however much you are loathed. I have been loathed across the continent of Africa on most of the things that I've said. But at the end of the day, these things have come true. Like Nyerere was bold, frank, open. He used to tell people, he's not here anymore. We must have other Nyereres who can stand and say, no, enough is enough for Africa. I'm proud to be one of the few followers of Mwalimu Dr. Julius Kambarake Nyerere, a man who devoted his life for a better Africa, a man who did not enrich himself, a man who did not look for riches, but looked for a better Africa, a man who stood up to make decisions. In 1978, Julius Kambaraka Nyerere took a decision to help us Ugandans, including myself, to liberate our country from the fangs of colonial-inspired violence that had been created by the British installations and that propelled Idi Amin to come to power in Uganda in 1971, 25th January. We have not forgotten that history, but we have given history a chance to teach us what we should do today and what we should not do tomorrow. The repeat of Idi Amin's scenarios are many on African continent. That's why I was in these capital cities, The Hague, London, Amsterdam. I've been running around there to fix Africa. You can't kill people and watch Mr. Paul Biya. The conflict, the whole world is watching. Africans are not speaking. African Union is not speaking. People in the southern Cameroons are dying. They are dying. Women. We put 16 days of activism. But what activism are we exhibiting on African continent when we have women dying since 2016 in southern Cameroon, in a place, the crime scene is Ambazonia. The country is southern Cameroon. When we have women dying in Sudan, the conflict of Sudan, over 4 million people displaced, among them children and the women. We are not talking. I've been talking. Not to me. I have been talking. I have no regrets. If I'm wounded on this journey, because I am speaking my mind, let it be. But don't stop me. I am not fighting with a gun. I am fighting with the tools of analysis that I went to the universities in the United Kingdom, earned them. And I will use these tools of analysis in international law and international affairs, relations, political science, conflict resolution, strategic management to deliver a better Africa. Not by guns, not by violence. We want to argue our cases. Okay, if Mr. Karim Khan has been issuing warrants of arrest everywhere, Russia, Middle East, name it, everywhere, they tell him, Americans tell him, issue that one against Russia. Then another group tells him, issue that one against Netanyahu. Why are you not issuing warrants against the conflict of Ambazonia, the conflict of southern Cameroons? That's my question. Pressure is on you. You will say, Matanga has not delivered the document. I have certificates that show I filed. And I have filed those applications. They are before you, Mr. Chief Prosecutor. It is up to you then, Mr. Chief Prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. It is up to you now, not tomorrow. Now, look at those documents that I have presented before you and argue the case. I will not call any lawyer to come there. I will argue the case of Cameroon, of southern Cameroon, against Paul Obier and his commanders alone. Don't come. I will defeat you. There is a case here. We have evidence. I have documented each and everything, not lies, including videos that I have not surrendered to you. If you want them, I will bring for you. The massacre of the women of southern Cameroons, the massacre of the children, the killing, defilement, rape by the Republican Army gives me the stand as an African not to walk proudly, fly around without, if I don't say it, then I'm the most stupid African. Mr. Karim Khan, under the British law, you are supposed not to abet crime. Remember, you and I swore under the British law that we shouldn't abet crime. The moment you leave and you don't discuss other issues on African continent and sideline them, you are abating crime. I will take you down on Article 70 of the Rome Statute. Today, let the people of Africa know there is still a voice. And this voice is here. I don't talk because you have given me money. You don't hire me. Mr. President of Africa, I speak my mind. When Macky Sall was beating up those two young men in West Africa, in Senegal, none of the African leaders stood up to speak. I, Dr. David Nyekoraki Matanga, born in Uganda, stood up. I spoke. I gave them the strategy. They won an election. We shall slowly, piece by piece, inch by inch, deliver Africa. The younger men, I've never gone there to seek anything. But the people who run there today are the same people who never spoke. I've never gone there to ask for a penny. That is patriotism. That is what Ugandans, younger men, must understand. It's not to run the British to report, not to Americans to report. To report what? Stand. I have been in this for over 40 years. I have never called for sanctions against my country, Uganda. Never, never from my mouth. I have engaged. I will continue to engage. This time I'm engaging through international agencies. There is nothing like a constitution that there is something called international law. Constitutionalism, which you used to harass people, remains in your country. But when you cross the rivers and the borders and the skies, there is international law. It catches you. And that's the thing I have excelled in. Ladies and gentlemen, the last 3 weeks have been hectic. I have done what I can do for the people of Southern Cameroon. Here seated in the capital city in the Netherlands. Tomorrow, I will do another final 1 or 2 things. I want the chief prosecutor, don't abate crime. I'm watching you. I'm following everything that you are doing. Remember, I'm the only one who has internal dynamics of your place. Since 2005, the first case in my country, Uganda, I have internal dynamics of the workings of the International Criminal Court. I've defeated 2 chief prosecutors, Fatou Bensouda and Louis Moreno, a 5th Ocampo, a very dangerous conman called Ocampo, a man who came to Africa to harvest Africans, to eat meat in meat joints, collect no evidence, yet people had died. I defeated him on those grounds. He threatened me, told me lies. He told me lots of threats, but I defeated him. I am now putting on notes. Mr. Chief Prosecutor, don't waffle. You want to waffle. You are waffling. We see you waffle. We see you issue warrants across Israel situation. I told you that the Israel situation will close you. When Trump arrives on scene, you are finished. You won't be able even to go to UN. Because with Trump, he can enter UN and pick you up. Be careful that you are not picked up. They will close you. The Israel case, you did not use conflict resolution, security conflict resolution experts. Don't use newspapers. That's the hinge of that case. Did you? You need to assess the type of guns that have demolished. We have lost over 40,000 people. Sad state. I'm not saying Israel has equally been good. No, I am not. I am not. And don't get me wrong. But the manner in which the office of the chief prosecutor operates leaves a lot of doubts, leaves a lot of problems, brings us chaos that Africa, that the entire world will see. I am therefore asking you politely that the cases that I've handed over to you in your court, of which I have certificates, work on them. It's up to you. You have Article 15 promoter, that you can pre-motor and enter any country at your own initiative. You can enter and say, I am seeking some information. Why are people dying in southern Cameroon? Why are generals still flying? Why are Sudanese generals still flying? Why are they flying? Why should they fly when others are not flying? People are going in the graves. The women are going in the graves. This week is a week of activism. I have stood I've shouted for the people of Sudan. I've shouted for the people of Southern Cameroon. I've shouted for the people of Somalia. I've shouted for the people of Libya. Why should we have, and I repeat, why should we have over 40,000, 30,000 people, 30,000, over 30,000 people? Why should we have over 30,000 troops in the south of Libya, supported by France, supported by the UAE? Some people say UAE is the biggest trading partner. So what? Do you trade on people's lives? You are trading partner, but you are using this trade, the money that you trade with us, the gold, the diamonds, the banking, to come and kill people in Libya. Dr. Matsanga is not wrong. I'm not fighting you with a gun. I want to fight you with a brain. And I'm not going to use a gun. I'm not anywhere. Don't involve me in any violent act. Never. I finished. If I find you plotting against my government, we disagree with President Museveni on a number of things. But if you want to create violence, I'll report you. I have nothing to do with violence. And I want it to be very clear. There are some younger people in Africa. You have assumed power. Just use it properly. Because some of us are veterans. I don't think you got President Museveni and announce my name. And he will say, who is that? He knows my name. I've been there from 1978 in the UNLF, in the Political and Diplomatic Commission. Magode Ikuya, you know me. Everybody knows me. Rugunda, Ruagana Rugunda, Salim Saleh. We are all there. We have fought battles. We better have a better Africa, but not an Africa through violence. That is why I am fighting. I am working. I don't need, they have no help. I don't have an agency sponsoring me. I don't have anybody paying. I'm using the literal resources that I can get from my books that I write. And the people buy my books. I want to thank those who have paid for my books, who have bought my books. I want to thank them that every time you buy, you have bought breakfast for me in a hotel in Jamena or Ivory Coast or Dakar or Gambia or Accra or Dar es Salaam or Nairobi or now Amsterdam, The Hague, London. You buy. It's better to be independent. Those who want to contribute towards my fight for a better Africa on the question, because we have social media now, we better use it effectively. It is a free mechanism, although some countries want to charge it. Someone wants to charge something which is not even his. Let's use it to liberate our country, our continent. Our continent is endowed, but it has conflicts. Conflicts manufactured, self-inflicted wounds. Sudan, Cameroon. Look, Paul Biya doesn't care how many people. A few days ago, a solicitor, a lawyer in Ndora was beaten in day broad light because he had gone to stand for his clients in Cameroon. Why? They don't have an agreement to be in southern Cameroon. No agreement at all. There is nothing. I've checked, I've researched. Cameroon does not have an agreement to have occupied southern Cameroon. Let the UN produce me the agreement where you signed. I'm going to floor you. For now, I want to ask one thing. Mr. Chief Prosecutor, look at those cases. Mr. Sarkozy goes, he spearheads the bombing of Libya. But Mr. Sarkozy goes ahead to loot it. And then, as God does not want looters, Mr. Sarkozy was found with $4 billion, 4 billion euros. Ladies and gentlemen in Africa, really, are there no African leaders who feel for Muammar Gaddafi? I'm asking. Surely Muammar Gaddafi did not leave anything for you here. South Africa. Ramaphosa. You can't go to court to put a case for Gaddafi. He gave you arms to liberate yourself from apartheid. Zuma walks around, threatens people. But Zuma, you know what you did. At least for me, Dr. Matanga, of your age, not your age, but younger than you. But I know what you did at the United Nations Security Council for Resolution 1973 to pass. You owe us an explanation, but it's not for now. We want the unity. Is there nobody? AU, Dr. Muhammad Faki, you were given instruments to initiate proceedings of this nature. You can't go to AU. A man has been convicted in France for having had extra money, which he stole from Muammar Gaddafi. The court in France convicts Mr. Sarkozy, finds him guilty, sentences him, but no African Union official has said a word. Were you paid? Were you paid? Were you paid? You better leave that office. I don't know how glad I will be when Mr. Raila Amolo Odinga takes over that office, so that Raila Amolo Odinga, if you have worked with him, is not a man who hesitates. He will do it. When you tell him, let's go and solve the problem of Cameroon, he will solve. When you tell him, let's do this, he will do it. He is a very good Pan-African in spirit, in heart, not people who have sold our organization to the French. Why did we keep quiet about Muammar Gaddafi until now? Dr. Masanga raises the question to the ICC. France is a member of International Criminal Court. Any citizen of the ICC jurisdiction has a right to query anywhere on earth what Sarkozy, what benefit on humanitarian ground, where there are crimes. Did you get this money when crimes were being committed? Ladies and gentlemen, I've done it. I have done it. Why do we go and do things? Why don't we do things for our continent? This video will remain here for people to listen to me. And I'm going to be talking everywhere I go. Next, I will be in Senegal next week. I will be there for the first time to say hello to my people. For the first time to say hello to my younger people since they won an election. Nobody went there. I don't run. I don't rush. I'm not looking for money. Once I get my ticket, I'll be on board. I'll lose it, whatever little, but I'll struggle for Africa, a better Africa. Macky Sall, a day before, 2 weeks before, I started a war with Macky Sall. I saw him, very corrupt guy, going to Russia with the AU chairperson. He was a chairman of AU trying to solicit grain to buy grain from Ukraine. Excuse me. Then they reach Russia. They put they leave Ugandan delegate, they say, oh, Uganda supported Russia, therefore Rugunda should not enter. What type of chairman is Macky Sall? What type of chairman is Dr. Muhammad Faki? Why did you leave Uganda out? Thank you. But we defeated you, Mr. Macky Sall. You owe some of us an explanation. Why Senegal, a beacon of hope, you wanted to turn it a beacon of, you wanted to destroy that beacon. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.